It's an official mayoral citation. It states, "Be it known to all that this citation is hereby conferred to United States Attorney Carmen M. Ortiz in honor and recognition of dedicating your life to our youth." Please give another round of applause to the United States Attorney Carmen Ortiz. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning, and I want to make sure everybody knows that I went to Talbot Middle School and I'm a graduate of Talbot Middle School. I played in the gym over there and I played Paul Revere on this stage a few years back. It's been a long time and Fall River's been good to me, and I always wanted to give something back to Fall River, so I decided to become a law enforcement officer. No way I wanted to be a police officer more than Fall River, Massachusetts, and I've been doing that for 28 years. I'm proud to do it. I go around the state, around the region really, and I speak to urban police chiefs and I hear about their shootings are up and their violence is up. And I say, well, things are happening well in Fall River and shootings are down and violence is down. And that's not because of law enforcement. That's because of law enforcement and community policing. In particular, our good community policing with the youth. And we do such a great job. And Kristen, I've heard him speak many times. I think you can attest to this. We do it right here in Fall River, Massachusetts, and I'm proud of that. Thank you.
And as you heard, Carmen is the United States Attorney for Massachusetts. There are, generally speaking, one United States Attorney for each state. And the United States Attorneys are appointed by the President of the United States. Ms. Ortiz was appointed by President Barack Obama. And Carmen is the top law enforcement officer in the state of Massachusetts and is responsible for all federal prosecutions in Massachusetts. So please join me in welcoming Carmen Ortiz.
Buenos días. Claro. Let me just start off by saying how delighted and thrilled I am to be here this morning with you to share a few words. And I'm even more delighted to be here with such tremendous colleagues that you've heard of. And I will take a moment to thank Peter Levitt, the Assistant U.S. Attorney who works with me, as well as Martha Wyatt. Martha, stand up, because Martha is the person who coordinates these programs. And I work very closely with Martha and Wyatt on Your Future, Your Decision, a program that we like to sort of take around the state. So it's our opportunity to reach out to kids just like you to try to send a message and really to try to inspire you. Because when I stand here and I look out into the audience, I see a group of kids that reminds me of me so many years ago. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago that is. And I want you to see in me, as you heard Peter tell you, I'm the U.S. Attorney, the first woman, the first Latina to be in this position. And I've worked very, very hard to be here, appointed by the President of the United States. And I want you to see, when I tell you a little bit about my story, that if I can do this, if I can reach such a position and have the number of accomplishments that I've been so lucky and so fortunate to have, you can do it too. That's what we're here to tell you. That through hard work, focusing on school, surrounding yourself with the right people, people going to support you, you can accomplish your dreams. As my colleague, District Attorney Sutter said, you need to dream big, and I say, dare to dream. Don't be afraid to want it all. So, who am I really? I grew up in New York City in an area, it's a public housing project that was referred to as Spanish Harlem. My parents are from Puerto Rico. I am the oldest of 5 children, so I was the firstborn. When I was born, my parents had just a year or two before arrived in the city from Puerto Rico. They did not have much education. They did not have high school diplomas even. And they didn't speak English, so they couldn't help me in school. They really didn't understand, what I was learning. But you know what they taught me from an early age? They taught me what I'm sure many of my colleagues here have learned as well. That's why they're here as I am. And that is that through hard work, working really, really hard, having ambitions and goals, and focusing on school, you can accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. You can achieve your dream. And that's what happened with me. I knew from an early age that I wanted to be a lawyer. When I was a kid, I would watch this program that was sort of like a lawyer show called Perry Mason. You won't remember this, but how many of you see Law and Order? Right? Everybody sees Law and Order. There's so many episodes. I think so many even per day. So you see how the prosecutors are there, the lawyers in the courtroom. Well, Perry Mason was similar, though he was a defense attorney. And I would see the cases that they would bring in court. I would see the way that they would argue before the jury, cases that they would figure out, and I said, I want to do that. And as I got older, I realized that as a lawyer, that if I became a lawyer, I could help people who had problems, that I would handle really interesting and challenging work, and that I could make a good living. That's why as I got older, it reaffirmed that I wanted to be a lawyer. But I also knew that to be a lawyer, I had to go to law school. And in order to get into law school, I had to go to college. And in order to get into college, where did I have to graduate from? High school. So I want you all to think about your futures and what you're interested in doing. And even if you don't have a specific interest, I have two girls right now, 23 and 27. And especially my 23-year-old, she just graduated from college, and she's still trying to figure out what she wants to do with her life. And that's okay. But I knew what I wanted to do, and so I knew I had to work really, really hard in school. And it wasn't always so easy to work and to do well in school. How many of you have failed a test? Huh? How many of you have struggled through a class? There's some classes that you feel like you're going to ace them, and then there's some classes that are really, really tough. Well, I did very, very, very well in school. I was basically an A student, but not always. Sometimes I did fail a test. Sometimes I did struggle through a class. But you know what I did? Another piece of advice for you. I asked for help. I asked for help from a teacher. I asked for help from a guidance counselor. I asked for help from a tutor, a friend. So it's important that you surround yourself with people who care about you, who support you, who will encourage you. You can't pick the family that you're born into. For better or for worse, it is what it is. But you pick your friends. You pick your partner in life. You pick the people you're going to hang around with at school, in the neighborhood, at work. So pick wisely. Pick the people who are going to encourage you, not the people who are going to bring you down, not the people who are going to discourage you, not the people who are going to tell you it's too hard to go to college, or it's too hard to go to medical school, or it takes too long to be a lawyer. You don't need people like that in your life. You want people who are going to tell you, go for it. Don't be afraid to try hard. Don't be afraid to work hard. You know what I say? This job that I have now, because we handle a lot of big cases in my office, and I do a lot of speaking like this during the day, at night. I've never worked so hard at a job. Sometimes I feel like I'm working 24/7. But you know what? I still love it because I like what I'm doing. And so don't be afraid to work hard. So I graduated from law school, and then I became, I went to the Justice Department, which was my first job. And I have had a number of different legal jobs. I've been a state prosecutor, similar to what the district attorney does in Middlesex County. I have done defense work. I worked in a private law office doing defense work, representing people who have made wrong choices but still needed my help, representing people who had gotten into trouble, and representing some people who did nothing wrong, just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I also worked at Harvard Law School, working on a criminal justice program in Guatemala. a country I had never visited before. But I took risks, I took challenges, and it made my career much more rewarding and satisfying. And before becoming the United States Attorney, overseeing an office now that handles all kinds of cases, from gun and gang violence to public corruption, drug trafficking. My office handled the Whitey Bulger case. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Mr. Bulger. It was a big gangster that we convicted last summer. And now we're handling and overseeing the investigation, the prosecution of the Boston Marathon case. Before I took on this position, I did what my colleague, Peter Levitt, does. I was an assistant U.S. attorney in my office, so I was a federal prosecutor. All of these experiences have helped me to do what I'm doing now. So I just want to say a few more words, and I'm going to wrap it up so you can hear from someone, you know, because I have been lucky. I have made a lot of good choices in my life, but sometimes not always. But for the most part, I made good choices. Someone that I think you're going to find incredibly inspiring, because I've listened to Christian Berrios before as well, is that he didn't make always all the great choices. But he's here to share his story with you, because he's hoping that you learn from his experiences, just like I'm hoping that you learn from mine. So I'm going to leave you with a few words. Dare to dream, dare to want it all. Surround yourself with people who will encourage you and support you. Work hard. Don't give up. Don't give up. Be confident. Ask for help. And be nice. Okay? Good luck.
Thank you, Carmen. Our next speaker is Christian Berrios. Christian's whole family's been involved in the criminal justice system. And when Christian was not much older than you all, he started selling drugs to make a living. And he went to jail because of that. And when he got out, he decided that that was not the life that he wanted for himself. And he changed his life, and now he spends most of his time, both professionally and personally, helping young people, counseling young people, mentoring young people, and has made a tremendous difference in a lot of people's lives. So please welcome Christian Berrios.
Puerto Rico, Bayamon. And now, one thing is, out of these 6 brothers, only one has managed to go back to school and been able to get back his GED, and that was me, right? I mean, you know, so I was raised by my grandmother. We come down from Puerto Rico. You know, my grandmother was very old-fashioned. I mean, a lot of you kids can know that, you know, grandma's very tough. So, you know, she never seen me quitting school as even an option, right? So, as I went through my school years, I went to school also in Sylvia, the old Sylvia school. And I remember one specific teacher who was a big mentor for me. Right? Back then, my grandmother really didn't have enough money to buy me a cake for my birthday. They didn't really have enough money to buy me chips and all these things. And I mean, I was big on my birthday. I wanted a cake. I wanted people to sing to me just like everybody else. And this one teacher, I still remember her name. Her name is Miss Terrio. She took it upon herself to go to her house and bake me a cake. And, you know, I said, Miss Terrio, you know, it's cool what you're doing, you know, but I still can't have a party. You know, I still can't hang out with my friends. You know, I ain't got no chips. I ain't got no soda. Like, what am I going to give these guys? Carrots or something, you know? So she took it also upon herself to buy me some chips, buy me some soda. You know, long story short, this woman believed in me at a very young age. And I still remember clear as day, I was always sitting in the front of the class in 5th grade. I was always there, you know, like the teacher's pet. What you guys call the teacher's pet, I was always there every day. You know, I love that teacher. She showed a lot of love to me. And one thing I started noticing as I kept going through school, you know, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you know, as I started coming here, I started realizing that a lot of my friends did not think that was cool, right? So a lot of my friends was like, yo, why, you know, you're the teacher's pet, man. Like, what are you sucking up for? Like, what's up with that? You know, and it started taking effect on me. You know, and I didn't think about it that time that it was going to take an effect on me. And I started realizing that in 7th grade, I started sitting more towards the 2nd row. In 8th grade, the 3rd row. In 9th grade, I was way in the back. In 10th grade, I was almost out the door. And in 11th grade, I was gone. I was gone out of school, right? So, like I was saying before, out of all my brothers, every single one of my brothers had sold drugs in their lives, right? So I was starting to see this cycle. It started from my older brothers who I looked up to greatly because I didn't have my father. I was taken away from my father when I was about 9 years old. My mother passed away when I was about 6. So, you know, my grandmother took it upon herself to take these 8 kids and raise them as good as she can or as well as she can, right? So I have nobody to blame for my outcome but myself. But anyways, as I'm seeing my brothers, you know, get out of high school and make money out in the street, the next one get out of high school, make money in the street, the next one get out of high school. I mean, I'm pretty much the 4th one in, or the 6th one in. And I was seeing all this happen, and eventually it got to my point. Like, now it's your turn, Christian. What is it that you're going to do? Right? So what did I do? I'm looking at them do what they do, and I seen them, you know, have chains. You know, they got the new sneakers. I was still wearing Payless sneakers, the Velcro joints that have, I didn't even have laces on my sneakers. See what I'm saying? Nowadays, everybody's about like the Jordans and stuff like that. You try to tell my grandmother to buy me $100 sneakers, she's gonna laugh at your face. See what I'm saying? And then, see, this is what's going on nowadays, that I see a lot of the kids, and then, you know, like I was teased before, and I think that's what made me have a tougher attitude as I grew older. I was teased because none of the guys next to me really understood why I had those Velcro sneakers. You know, to me, coming from Puerto Rico, I was raised barefooted all my life. So I still got flat feet. I can barely fit into sneakers anyways. So as time goes on, my grandmother bought me these Payless sneakers. These things were like Nickelodeon sneakers. See what I'm saying? And I put them on with pride. I was like, you know, these are nice. Like, you know, I got some on my feet. It's cold. It's cold outside. It's snowing. So I'm cool. But when I get to my class, all these kids are kind of like, look at homeboy sneakers, right? Look at homeboy sneakers. You know, where he get them from? You see, so after a while of being teased all the time, obviously I started, you know, getting a little tougher. I started saying, you know what, man, forget that. You know, I started getting into fights and nobody really understood why. I tried to explain to my grandmother, she didn't really understood why, right? But throughout my schooling, I always found a teacher, somebody like Miss Terrio, who I could talk to and be like, yo, listen, miss, these kids are teasing me, man. Like, what am I supposed to do? Just sit here and, you know what? Christian, what you here for? What you here for? Are you here for you? See, we spend a lot of time trying to impress each other here. We spend a lot of time trying to be the cool guy. We spend a lot of time, just because your boy is wearing this, you're going to wear the same thing. We spend a lot of time worrying about each other and what everybody else thinks of you, that you tend to forget about yourself and what you're in here for. You see, I loved sports. I was a nerd. I always forget the word for the guy, but I always wanted to be the guy who dug up bones and found like T-Rexes and whatnot. I don't know if anybody knows. Archaeologists. So I always wanted to do that because I always used to watch the Discovery Channel and see this dude like, you know, digging up bones, and all of a sudden this dinosaur come out. It's like, that dude is cool. Like, I thought I was cool. You know what I mean? And I lost sight of that. I lost sight of who I was and my unique gift. See, every single one of you guys here, right? And that's, you know, I know I want to touch bases on how I was, and it's very briefly. I ended up selling drugs. I would call myself, I was good at it, right? I used to hide things everywhere, man. Like, I used to hide the drugs everywhere I can. I used to dig up a hole and do it right here. I used to take out bricks from. I grew up in Benincasa, so I would take out a brick and put my drugs in there so I can never. And there's been a lot of times where the cops come by and it always goes unseen. There's been a lot of times, and you know what? You tend to get this sense like, I'm invincible. Like these guys, I got it figured out. These dudes, look at them. They're going around searching me, searching that. They still can't find it. You know what it is, man? You cannot live in a house of cards. I ended up putting it somewhere, and somehow, some way, life has something for you. They're gonna catch you. See what I mean? So as I dug down and I tell the guy who's going there to go purchase a drug, wait for me right there. Here I am ducking down to get that. I feel this hand just take over my back and pull me back. So, I turn around like, oh, and then there it was. It was the police. After like 3 years of me selling drugs, after 3 years of me finally copping those Jordans everybody loved, finally getting a chain, finally getting a name for myself, it all came down on me. And when I finally figured out, like, damn, I've been hearing about my future. Damn, I've been all these things, all these conversations, every single time everybody tell you, your future, your future, your future, think about your future. It all dawned on me when I was in that jail cell by myself. Because first they put me in a jail cell with 50 people, they call it a holding cell. And all these 50 people are in there, so it's just like here where you're trying to be like, like, I'm fine, like I'm good, hey, what's up, dog, what up? When they put me in that jail cell by myself, I cried. And I ain't ashamed of telling you that, right? And you know why I cried? Because by then I had this beautiful girlfriend of mine who used to always tell me, Christian, you gotta chill out with that, you gotta chill out with that. You always have that one person or that one little voice inside of you telling you, yo, you better chill out. You better chill out, right? And that day, the day I left, I had used her lotion, and I know I tell that story a lot, but I had used her lotion before I left, which I never do. But she has like that strawberry, whatever kind of crazy lotion she wears, I don't know what it is. And it's kind of weird going into jail smelling like strawberries, but whatever. Like here I am, I'm sitting down, and I'm thinking to myself, like, Christian, what you doing, man? Like, what's up? What, now you're hearing all these voices that I've been telling you before, you're screwing up your future. And as soon as I rub my face, that's the first smell I smell. It's her smell. And I felt bad because I'm like, yo, you got a good girlfriend, you got good people around you, and you over here screwing up for what? For chump change, because I used to make almost $1,000 a week, and I know that sounds attractive, but you know what? After 3 years of doing that, you asked me what I got for myself. After 3 years, you asked me what I got, $1,000 a week, and you asked me what I got. All those Jordans are gone, I can't even fit them anymore. They're all dirty. Every 2 weeks, there's some of them coming out, so they ain't even worth anything now. See what I'm saying? Every single one of y'all got a gift. Every single one of y'all are different. Y'all open up a puzzle and no one piece is the same. Y'all all meant to be different, and be okay with that, man. Like, be okay to be different. See what I'm saying? Because y'all all contribute to the beautiful picture. And understand that your future is right there. It's right, y'all close your eyes, y'all open them back up, and boom, y'all in high school. See what I'm saying? Just remember who you are as individuals. Remember the gift that you have. And like everybody said, don't let nobody get in the way. So just so you know, like right now I ended up graduating Youthville. Now I am. Thank you. Right now I work for Family Services. I'm a therapeutic mentor, so I get to help kids every day. I get to tell them my story. I'm not ashamed of who I was. It's who it makes me now. And, future's near, so please just keep your eye on the goal, okay? Yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, Christian. Next, we have a presentation from Assistant District Attorney Michael Cahillane. Come on up, Michael.
Do them for yourselves. Think about the future. Think about what are your goals long term. Where are you going to be? Now, a lot of the things that we deal with at the DA's office are not just guns. It's not just shootings. It's not just murders. But a lot of it is kids who are your age who get themselves into trouble because of technology, because of social media, because of Facebook, because of Twitter, because of Instagram. I'm sure all of you are using those. Those didn't even exist when we were growing up, when we were kids. But the thing to remember about that is that whatever you do now, whatever picture you post, whatever phrase you put out there is out there forever now. It never leaves. It's always going to be out there. It's always going to be accessible. So you need to think about being safe about what you're putting out there. And think about the things that you put out there, whether they're going to hurt you, are they going to put you in danger? Because we know, stranger danger that we're all taught isn't just out on the streets, it's on the computer too. So you need to think about being safe on the computer. And think about whether it's going to affect your future by putting something out there, because one of the things that we do at the district attorney's office, when we have someone who's being hired, and this is, I think, across the board now for any job, we're going to go back and we're going to look at your Facebook page. We're going to look at your Twitter page. And we're going to see what you've put out there, whether you've put pictures out there. And I was told a story recently that of a student who had done well. He had had some troubles, he had some issues, but he had turned it around. And he was doing well. He had a job lined up. Things were good. His employer went on to his Twitter page and he looked. And he saw that this person had posted a picture of himself with a gun and some money, flashing it, trying to look cool. Whether it was a real gun or not, that was it. That employer said, there's no way I'm going to hire this person if they think it's cool to put pictures of guns and money out on the internet. So that person lost the job, and they lost a great opportunity that they had to succeed because they didn't think before they posted something. They didn't think how it was going to affect them down the road. You all have great futures ahead of you. You have a principal who is fired up. Your teachers are doing a great job with you. You have the chance to be remarkable. Don't let bad choices get in the way of that. As the district attorney said, as the U.S. attorney said, dream, and dream big. You have your whole lives ahead of you to do amazing things. And I would much rather see you, read about you in the paper, have Brian Fraga from the Herald News writing an article about you, about the great things that you've done in your life, rather than reading about you in the police log, reading about you in the crime pages of the paper. Because I get the chance to come speak to you today, and it's a pleasure for me. So let's have a great resource fair, take advantage of it. I want to thank you very much for your time and attention this morning. Thank you.